Mr. Hines, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Ted?
I'm doing great. We got a lot to talk about here, but before we jump in, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and where you do it?
Yep, Conan Hines, Director of Practice Innovation at Fried Frank, based in New York.
And you're a longtime law firm guy, correct?
Yes, I've been in, since law school, I've been in law firms for 17 of my 19 years in the profession. So, yes.
Long time.
I'm pretty much very comfortable in the law firm setting.
You're a vet. So I started my journey about that time, 2008, which was a hell of a time to quit your day job and start a company, but especially one that caters to law firms, because you remember how difficult a period that was.
Is that not still difficult today?
It's less difficult. Like,
okay.
People will write checks. It was like a different story in 08, 09.
Yeah, well, yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah. But so we got a lot to talk about. Why don't we start with the ever-present AI topic?
Why not? No one's really talking about it.
I know. So. It's not. All you do is just take a glance and you see AI in just about every booth.
Yeah.
So you and I discussed models and whether or not they've plateaued. We just had GPT-5 release. We may even need to talk about, have they gone backwards with GPT-5? I've kicked the tires on it. I've got kind of mixed feelings. I miss having the ability to select a reasoning model and picking my poison, so to speak. But what's your take on the frontier, and do you feel like we've plateaued, or are the scaling laws still in effect? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it has plateaued. I'm not saying there won't be incremental improvements or there aren't reasons to still continue to do large language model training, but I think we saw with GPT-5, even if you are pro GPT-5, I don't think anybody would say the jump from 4 to 5 was anywhere near the jump from 3.5 to 4, definitely not 3 to 4. So now we can talk about all the different numberings and all the different naming conventions that OpenAI uses, but what interests me there is that we can now start talking. I think it's actually a good thing. I think we want the models to plateau, because even with GPT-5, it breaks down a lot of some frameworks that you may have built, and it can cause you to go back to the drawing board and rebuild your governance and some of the useful functionality that you had relied on. So something that's more stable, and let's not forget, this is still a wonderful tool. And I think we just get hung up on, and I hear vendors telling me, well, the models are just going to continue to get better, and I'm like, well, don't serve me that. Where are they going to get the data? I don't think it's coming from synthetic data to hit those sort of scaling levels. And but I think it's actually a really good thing, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing.
Yeah. So we're getting a little bit of stability, and you're not seeing the massive leaps like when 03 came out. I mean, that was a game changer.
Yeah.
Absolute game changer.
Sure.
Have you kicked the tires at all on any of the Chinese models like DeepSeek and now Kimi? Have you seen?
I haven't seen Kimi yet.
Kimi is really interesting, and they were kind of a dark horse. I think that maybe that's Alibaba's model.
Mm-hmm.
I've kicked the tires on it. Obviously, you can't put anything remotely sensitive there, but man, it really hums. And when you think about all of the export controls that are in place that seem to be only ramping up, like the fact that they have been able to keep pace, like R1 blew everybody's mind. And
yeah.
I feel like really it was a little bit of a gut check for the U.S. frontier companies.
It kind of cut against the narrative of we need to have a lot of public investment into massive data centers, which I am not. I'm a bit skeptical of. I think China's not getting the high-end GPUs, and they have other limitations. And yes, they're coming out with these impressive models. And yeah, you don't want to put data in them online, but you can host DeepSeek in your own tenant if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah, and you still have these models are trained and have a tone that aligns with whoever created them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you go in and ask about Tiananmen Square and DeepSeek, you get a different answer.
You're going to get a very different answer.
But it's true here in the U.S. too. I mean,
Absolutely.
look at Grok, right?
Yep.
I mean, what was the Hitler character?
Yep.
Remember, that was like, not that was intentionally put in there, but you know, and I think we're going to get even more of that. I don't know if you've had a chance to read the Trump's AI action plan, but they talk about what these things should and shouldn't do, and they're prescriptive, and it's like, makes you step back and go, all right, well, who's making the decisions? Even if you support this administration, there's going to be a new administration potentially in 4, definitely 8 years. Are we going to let those people dictate what the tone and what these models can and can't say? It seems like we're walking into a minefield.
Aren't we just outsourcing it to big tech? I think we're just going to let big tech decide and run it, which I don't know what's worse, big tech or big government running these things. We're kind of in a tough place, and really what it should be, a society should be dictating. And I think you have to have, you can't just say, oh, I like this model and this is what I'm going to use, especially as a lot of people use it for, as a news source, as a research source. So you really might need to run it a DeepSeek versus an OpenAI versus a Grok. And you'll get 3, I think, quite different answers on some of these more polarizing questions.
Totally, yeah, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Like, I kind of rotate between 4. It's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Grok.
Yep.
And just Grok recently, since Grok 4 came out. And man, it is impressive how quickly Google and XAI have closed the gap. Like, they were both way behind, and out of nowhere, they are on par with OpenAI and Claude. Would you agree?
Gemini? Yeah, I think Gemini has gotten in, and it kind of makes sense. It's really, I guess, unsurprising to see Google make that stride. They were kind of the laughing stock.
They were. Bard was a joke.
Yeah, Bard was a joke. But if we really think about it, it all came from them anyway.
Yeah.
All this transformer technology, they have all the data, they have the software chops. I think it was inevitable. Although, you can contrast with that something up of Apple, and Apple's now the joke of the industry, way worse than Google ever was.
Microsoft's not far behind.
Yeah, I don't even know if Microsoft has anything.
Well, I just mean with Copilot.
Yeah.
You know my thoughts on Copilot.
I know your thoughts on Copilot, and I'm completely aligned with those. So I don't even know what else we can add to it there. And I was actually in a lunch right before this with one of the legal AI companies, and someone said, "Oh, your Word plugin's better than Copilot," and that's a pretty low bar.
Yeah.
Like the founder's like, "Yeah, that's not really saying much."
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that might be okay. I think have the foundational model companies do their thing, and sometimes that'll be wrapped up in a bigger company, and maybe sometimes not. But yeah, that's I think Gemini's on par. I love Claude. Claude's my favorite.
Yeah.
Of them.
Yeah. I really enjoy Claude too, especially for writing. It has a very, it's less flowery. Like, GPT sometimes was overly verbose. I've heard it's gotten better with GPT-5, but I really like Claude for writing. In fact, for my podcast, how I do it is I have a 30-minute meeting to plan out an agenda. I record it, I take the transcript, I upload it into a custom Claude project where I've trained it and have custom instructions on what I want my agendas to look like. And it gets me 80, 85%. I just make a couple tweaks. Yeah. It's amazing. So the thing I love most, and the reason that I keep my subscription active with Anthropic, it's all the research that they're doing and how transparent they are with, I don't know if you heard the story, you probably did, about how they tested it with threatening to turn it off, and it found some emails from a CEO and it blackmailed to stay alive.
I think it was a controlled hack or something. But yes, it was, when it was threatened, it was And I think, I mean, that's kind of the genesis of Anthropic, right? Anthropic spun out of what was perceived to be quite a corrupt and nefarious operation being run over at OpenAI. And I'm telling you right now, I'm in the middle of this book, Empire of AI. Have you read it?
No.
Yet, by Karen Howell. It's blowing my mind. You've got to read it. It just came out in May, and it's basically, a lot of it's about the story and the last 10 years of OpenAI and its history, and then just, the whole AI industry and how it evolved and how actually, I mean, we could go down to the rabbit hole here, and I don't even want to, just talk about the book, but just how artificial intelligence itself, having the word intelligence, forked AI into a totally different direction than what it was named before, which was like autonoma something, and it was not sexy. And then this marketing piece comes on, and it's sort of taken off from there.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about like innovation in legal, which legal innovation has historically been a little bit of an oxymoron. I saw an interesting article. I talked about it with Zach Posner on here yesterday. It was from a VC fund, and they said they were giving their prediction on where the market's going, and they had a hilarious metaphor. They said if Rip Van Winkle woke up, the only thing he'd recognize is a law firm.
Yeah.
So it's like legal innovation, it has been like jumbo shrimp and military intelligence, but now it's real. And I think ChatGPT a few years ago, it's been almost 3 years now, has really kind of changed law firms' perspective on how strategic tech is. Tell me about your thoughts on, the process of building an innovation function in today's world.
Yeah, so there's no standard and there's no one size fits all, I think, for every law firm. So I can only speak to how I would do it, being sort of in this world for the last dozen years. We're trying to build a startup basically in the firm, and so that's how I look at it. And I'm trying to hire people. I have to write a job description and give them a title, but I'm not really looking for positions to fill. I'm looking for people with skills and ambition to join the cause, and people who can wear many hats, they can pivot, and they are motivated, right, to seize this challenge. I think the tough thing in law firms is how, usually when you think of startups, you don't think of, mahogany wood paneling in the hallways. You think of something way cooler with ping pong tables and the like. So, how do we get people excited? AI really is part of that, because the great thing about ChatGPT is it understands language. That's really all it does, actually. It's just language generation, and that's perfect for law firms and what we do. And it's always been, and it's still, to some sense, is still the case today, where you need to structure the data to get the most out of the AI. But breaking down how much manual effort you need to structure the data anymore is becoming, I think, lower and lower, more trivial, and where that's exciting. If you can actually maybe recruit an AI engineer over, because you're saying, hey, you're going to be able to work on this really interesting, high-value stuff, and there is, law firms can compete, I think, on salary. Maybe not with some of the, money that Zuck is throwing around. Yeah. 250 million, I think, was the most recent hire. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people, I think, that are coming out with data science degrees and with these computer science degrees and have the chops. It's now just giving them a purpose. And so that's kind of how I'm trying to think of it. People first, building a vision, and then follow with the tech and deployments.
So what about empowerment? That's been one of the challenges with innovation. I talked about it on a previous episode, but I did an analysis of the ILTA roster in 2014 and how many titles had innovation in them.
That.
There were 16, and then when I looked again 10 years later, there was 330. 1,800% increase. Today there's over 400. So massive growth in the innovation function. And then the Blickstein Group did a law department operations survey in December and asked law firm clients, do you agree that your law firm is your law firm innovative? Almost 2/3 either disagreed or strongly disagreed. So you've got 18x increase in innovation investment over the last 10 years, and 2/3 of the customers don't think we're innovative. Like, where's the disconnect there?
Well, it's the wrong term. Okay, so we're innovation teams, but I'm not an innovation team. It's practice enablement, something like that, not as sexy. Innovation is what the clients pay for, and that's those are your top talent lawyers. The lawyers innovate. They come up, they handle, our firm, very complex transactions, novel fact patterns, multi-party negotiations, sophisticated tax approaches, right? I mean, this is innovation. We are constantly creating new legal products. We don't really talk about it that way. And so in our bubble, we're innovating, but really we're just modernizing and empowering what the actual innovation we do, because that's how you make money. Most companies, that's kind of how you make money, is you innovate, and people there's a market for that, and people assign a value to that, and then they pay you for it until it gets commoditized, or someone can do it better, or another technology completely blows up that idea. You know, Netflix blows up Blockbuster or something.
So you had a quote, I think you said, all software is tech, but not all tech is software. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so I mean, the roots of the word technology, I mean, it's really about, there's a couple different definitions, but mostly it's a scientific process to do or a scientific approach to doing a process. And there's a lot of technology that we can do that's not necessarily software. And I think we lose that thread. I think software and technology today is synonymous with each other. And it was kind of co-opted, right, by big tech. And that, to me, is we talk, I think it's important, like, what does AI mean to you? What does technology mean to you? And I think we just kind of all assume that we all know and we're all talking in the same way. But I think words, they have meanings for a reason, and we should stick to those meanings. Technically the word agentic is not a real word. No. It's not in the dictionary. It's agentive would actually be the word, but that doesn't pop as much, right? I'm not saying I have a problem with that, but I'm just saying, like, technology is just applying science to a business process, and if you legal project management is a technology, and there's nothing digital or code-based about it.
That's a great point. So how much time have you had to spend on the exhibit floor since you've been here?
Not as much as I wanted to. I'm going to do more today, but I've been getting some nuggets from people.
You've been by the InfoDash booth, I hope, over there.
Yeah, they're always spamming me with it. No, of course.
Did you see our kicks? I got to show the camera.
Yeah,
the
well,
InfoDash
I saw it on LinkedIn. I think Adam had posted, and then I saw Matt with them the other night. So no, very cool. We're working with InfoDash, so we think they're a very important part of the ecosystem.
Have you seen any other interesting, and this doesn't necessarily have to be on the exhibit hall floor, but any other interesting technologies, maybe not necessarily company names, but things that either vendors or law firms are doing with technology since you've been here?
Yeah, this is a running theme this year, is that the overlap in functionality with a lot of the tools is becoming more and more prominent. It's making it very difficult for people to make decisions, or it might cause people to delay those decisions. And timing is, I think, the most interesting thing, is when you go in on something. But now, these products are swallowing up features of the other, and vice versa. So that to me is really interesting. I think I saw some. I like like what the deep judge people are doing, and I've seen some really cool like auto taxonomy, like on the fly, like. And this isn't released. I hope I'm not revealing anything top secret, but it was really pretty badass.
Huh. Well, that's a huge gap for law firms. Is lawyers profiling documents doesn't always happen in the DMS, so
yeah,
they need some help.
Exactly, and they're asking for it, and I sit in those KM meetings sometimes. It's like, how are we going to title a document, and what are our doc types, and what class? It's like, okay, well, when is AI going to figure this out? Well, it's pretty much here.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, hey, I know how full your dance card probably is at ILTACON, so I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us today.
Absolutely, Ted. Thanks for having me.
All right. Cool, man.